So in the previous session, we discussed about how to create the EC2 instance and how to access the AWS environment, how to create the security group and all that. In this session, let us discuss about the Jenkins. So what is meant by Jenkins and how we can configure Jenkins. Okay. So now when we are discussing about the Jenkins, so what is this Jenkins? Jenkins is a CI/CD pipelining tool. Everyone will say the same. Jenkins is a CI/CD pipelining tool. Whenever you want to configure the pipeline. Okay, so then we can use the Jenkins or GitHub Actions, GitLab runners. There are multiple CI/CD pipelining tools like Jenkins, GitHub Actions, GitLab runners. In that format, we have a few more CI/CD pipelines. Now, what is this CI/CD? There is a most important term called as CI/CD. What is the CI/CD and how you are going to work with that? CI means continuous integration. Okay, continuous integration and continuous deployment. Now, what is this continuous integration and continuous deployment? For example, we have a developer. In an IT company, there is a developer. Okay, there is a development team is there. This development team will continuously work on the application and its bugs. For example, there is an application. Okay, so now these developers will continuously push the code into the GitHub. So here you can see the dev team is there. This dev team will continuously work on the application. Once the application is completed, they will push the entire code into the GitHub. So development team is a combination of there will be collaborations, there will be versions, there will be version controls, everything will happen. So these developers will so for example in the development team, we want to create a banking application. In the banking application for the front end, there will be multiple modules will be there. So a few of the modules will be given to one of the developers, and few of the modules will be given to the another developer. Like that, they will work. So at the end of the application, all the modules should be collaborated. So these module collaborations can be done with the help of GitHub. Okay. So once the code has been pushed into the GitHub, now what should happen manually? What we are going to do in general, we are going to build the code. Okay, we are going to build the code, and the building of the code will be done with the help of multiple tools. Either we can use the React. If it is a front end, we can use the React, and with the help of that, we can build that application. Or else if it is a Java application, we are going to use Maven or else Gradle, or we can use Ant. So like that, multiple build tools are available. So manually, we are going to build the application. Once the application is built, then what we have to do, we need to create a server. Okay, why? Because we have to deploy the application now. So we need to create the server. So once we have created a server or multiple servers, infrastructure environment. So then inside those servers, we need to install the application. So for example, this is an infra. Okay. So where you can have a single server or multiple servers. And inside that, what we have to do, install the dependencies and application. So we are going to install the dependencies and application inside the infrastructure, inside a single server or multiple servers. And after the installation, what we have to do. So previously we used to do that in the servers, but right now what we are doing here is, so in the servers, we are going to install the Docker. Inside the servers or inside the cluster, we are going to install the Docker. And after installing the Docker, so this Docker is responsible for generating the images. There will be Docker, and this Docker is responsible for, creating or else converting the application to the images and run the containers. So inside the Docker, containers will be running. So, and these containers are maintained. So we will not have a single Docker instance. We will have multiple containerized instances will be there. Multiple container servers will be there. So all these servers will be created as a cluster, and this cluster is managed by your Kubernetes. Okay. Once that is done, then this cluster is monitored. This cluster has to be monitored. So that monitoring can be done with the help of Prometheus. So there will be a monitoring tool, so which is going to scrape the metrics. So how much amount of CPU and RAM is consumed by the each and every pod or else each and every application can be understood by Prometheus, and that can be visualized in the Grafana. So Prometheus, and there will be Grafana. And if there are any logs are there, these logs can be collected by ELK stack. And finally, those logs will be given as a notification to the developers. So these are the errors that we are getting. So can you please confirm this? Okay. There will be ELK means Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana. With the help of this, the logs will be collected. Once the logs are collected, these logs will be forwarded to the developer saying this in this area we are having the issue. So once the developer got the issues and everything, so then what developer is going to do? He is going to work on those bugs, and he will reconfigure the entire application or else reconfigure the bugs, and he will push it into the GitHub. So again, the process will be the same. So this time we don't need to create the infrastructure. Why? Because already the infrastructure will be present. So we don't need to create the infrastructure. If you see here, so this is the entire DevOps process. So it's a continuous process. It's a continuous process, which means that it's an infinite process. So application will be built and pushed into the GitHub. Application code will be created and pushed into the GitHub, and that code is built and then installed by creating the dependencies and creating the infrastructure. That application will be created inside the Docker, and that Docker is managed by your Kubernetes, and that Kubernetes is monitored by the Prometheus and Grafana, and logs will be collected by the ELK stack. And again, these logs are submitted to the developer. So once the logs are okay, so the developer knows about the bugs, then again he will try to fix the bugs and push the code into GitHub. Then version 2 build will be generated. And after that, version 2 Docker containers will be there. And then the Kubernetes has to manage those containers. Prometheus and Grafana will monitor those containers, and Elasticache, this ELK stack will collect the log and submit it to the developer. So like that, this entire process can be automated with the help of a CI/CD pipelining tool. So that is called as Jenkins. So we can use the Jenkins. So to integrate every stage, here we are having multiple stages. All these stages can be integrated with the help of Jenkins application. So this is the main concept of your Jenkins. So how we are going to work with Jenkins and what is going to happen. So Jenkins is a Java related application. So to run the Jenkins, definitely we need to have Java. Without Java, we cannot run the Jenkins. So first of all, the prerequisites are installing Java on the servers. So here what we are going to do is to manage the Jenkins, we are going to create a high availability Jenkins cluster or else highly available Jenkins configuration. Here we will have a Jenkins primary server, and there will be Jenkins standby server will be there to run the jobs. Whatever the jobs that are there, to run the jobs, there will be primary and there will be a standby server. standby. Okay. So these are the two servers. So now whenever Jenkins primary server is down, automatically the user can work with the Jenkins, or else the jobs are not going to be unfinished. They will be finished with the help of standby node. So for example, there will be a very big company. So by using Jenkins, what is happening here is what I can say, the deployments has become very easy. Every now and then the deployments are happening. So previously, whenever a deployment has to happen, it is going to take a lot of time. But right now, it is very simple to create the deployment. Some companies are going with a full flow of multiple deployments at a single day, or else within couple of days, it is going for the multiple deployments for getting the test cases and all the things. So these deployments, I don't want to be stopped. So we have to build a pipeline. For building the pipeline, we will be using the Jenkins. So if I am having a single Jenkins server, then that is a what I can say single point of failure. So when I am having multiple Jenkins nodes, I mean the primary and standby nodes, these will become the highly configured and highly available Jenkins combination, where if one server is down, still we can access the pipelines, or else we can run the pipelines through the second server. So now how we are going to synchronize that? So between these two servers, I am going to create an EFS, a volume called as EFS, that is Elastic File Sharing, nothing but the NFS configuration. Okay, so here we are going to create the EFS, and this EFS will be connected to a directory inside my Jenkins primary server, and that directory is called as warlib Jenkins. So inside the primary server, we will be having a directory, and this directory is called as warlib Jenkins. So this is the default home directory of the Jenkins application. /var/lib/Jenkins. So this is the default directory of this Jenkins application. So whatever the EFS that we have created, this EFS will be connected to this Jenkins directory. And here also in the standby, whenever we are creating, or else whenever we are working with this, the same volume will be shared with the same volume will be shared with the same directory over here also. There will be Jenkins standby, and here also you will have the same directory like this. Okay. So the whatever the EFS volume is there, this EFS volume will be connected to that. So whatever the data that we stored in the warlib Jenkins, the same data will be replicated in the standby warlib Jenkins. So this is what going to happen. So this is a NFS kind of file system. So in Linux environment, we are having NFS. NFS means network file system. The same configuration we will be having inside the AWS environment, and it is called as EFS. So to configure that, what we are going to do, first of all, you need to understand the Jenkins installation, and then we will go ahead into the concept of working with the EFS configuration. For that, what I will do here is let us deploy the two servers in the EC2 instance, two EC2 instances. Launch instance, Jenkins primary, Ubuntu environment. T3 micro is fine. Key pair will be default laptop key pair. In the yesterday session, I have clearly mentioned you how to create the EC2 instances. and I'm going to deploy this in the development subnet, dev subnet one, and select an existing security group. The server will have an IP 10.100.1. Some 150. So this is the IP address of the first primary Jenkins server. Launch the instance. Okay. So this is the IP address of the primary server. Let us create another server that is a standby server. Launch instance. Uh, Jenkins underscore standby. Standby, or else you can call it as secondary also. So the Ubuntu environment T3 micro is fine. Key pair will be the default laptop key pair, and I want to create this in the development subnet on dev subnet 2. The IP address of this is 10.100.2.150. So this is the IP address of this particular server, the standby server, and launch the instance. So the second server is also deployed. So this is the second server. Now what we have to do after configuring these two servers, now it's time to create the EFS. Okay, so how we can create that? Let me go to EFS, Elastic File Sharing. By default, I can have an EFS in my console over here. Let me delete this. Okay, I'm going to create a file system now. Elastic File System. Create a file system. This is for my uh, Jenkins app. Okay, so now let's create a file system. Jenkins underscore HA underscore FS. So Jenkins highly available file system. Customize it. We don't need to enable any backups. And then next, here we have to select the VPC as the development VPC. Select the both the subnets. This is fine. Next, next, and create. Done. So now it will generate a DNS for us. Okay, DNS name. So once it is configured, I am going to get it up. So now let me log on to the servers. I want to access my servers. To access the servers, what I will do, Jenkins primary, copy the public IP. So there you go. We are able to access the server. Okay. So now we want to install all the dependencies. What are the dependencies to install on the Jenkins node? So whenever the Jenkins server has to be updated and it has to be created, I mean, the application has to be installed, we need to install a few configurations. So apt update -y and apt install -y open jdk -21 jdk in the sense Java development kit. So it is going to install a Java version 21, and then I want unzip. I want what else I want? Unzip is there. NFS-common. It is an application which will be helpful for connecting the servers to the TFS. Okay, and then as of now, these are the things which I want. So let me copy these commands. Now let me install that first. So it will be installed, and I will access the server too. Okay, the standby server. In standby also, I am going to run the same configuration. In the standby also, I am going to work with the same configurations. So here I can go ahead with the different colors so that you will understand what is primary and what is standby. So this is the standby server. So sudo su hyphen. Here also we are going to do the same. apt update -y and apt install -y open jdk -7 -21 -jdk, and then unzip, then nfs-common. Okay, done. On standby nodes also, the configurations are going to be created. Now let us see. Java is installed. Java -version. Java is installed, and NFS is there. NFS-server. Let's see. No problem. So now what I will do here is, whenever the EFS is created, here you can see we have the DNS is going to be generated. So let me refresh this. So copy this DNS, go back to the server one, nano/etc fs tab. There is a file called as fs tab file is there inside the etc folder. Here you have to give that code, I mean the DNS, and then what you have to do here is, so I just want to connect it to the warlib Jenkins folder. Okay, so NFS is the file system. Simply you can give like this, and we need to create the folder mkdir-p/warlib Jenkins. Now, if you can see systemctl daemon reload, I'm going to reload the configuration, and then I'm going to mount the directory. Whatever the EFS is there, I'm going to mount the EFS to my server on the warlib Jenkins. So here you can see df-h. So the volume which we have created in the EFS, that is mounted to the warlib Jenkins directory. So the 8 exabytes volume. This is fine on the server one. When you go to the server two, I'm going to do the same configuration. Nano/etc fs tab // warlib Jenkins, and this is NFS. And I'm going to create the warlib Jenkins folder. And then what I can do, systemctl daemon reload, and then mount -a. Now if here you can see in the standby also the EFS is mounted on the warlib Jenkins folder. On both the servers, this is what happened. Up to here it is clear what we have done. Do you understand what we have done? Any questions here?
Yep, all good.
Everyone? So any questions? Do you understand the topic?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Now it's time to check whether the replication is happening between the both the servers or not. So to check whether the replication is happening both the servers, what I'm going to do here is look at here cd/warlib Jenkins, and here also cd/warlib Jenkins. Now, in server 2, I'm going to continuously watch the folder watch-n1 ls-l. So when I do this, continuously it is going to monitor the particular directory. Right now there are no files. So in server 1, I'm going to create some files for I in 1.10 do echo dollar date file $i ls-l sleep 1 and done. So every 1 second it is going to create a file. So if you see in the standby what is going to happen in primary, we are executing this command, which means that in the warlib Jenkins folder a file will be created in this server 1. Okay, in warlib Jenkins directory files will be generated in server 1. So now what happens in the server 2? Let us see. Look at that. Whatever the files that are getting created on server 1, the same files are getting replicated on the server 2 also, which means that whether the synchronization replication is happening or not. For example, if I delete the files for I in 1.10 do rm-rf file $i sleep 1 and done. When I say that, then here you can see one file is getting deleted in server 1, and as well as in server 2 also the files are getting deleted. So which means that the replication is happening between both the servers. Here you can see in server 1 we don't have any files, and as well as in server 2 also we don't have any sort of files. So as it is a shared volume, so whatever the data that is present in server 1, the same data will be available in the server 2. Now it's time to install the Jenkins. So to install Jenkins, what I will do, jenkins.io documentation installing Jenkins. So on the Linux environment. So let me copy this code. And I will execute the code in server 1. So it is installing Jenkins on server 1. So now if you see here on server 2, the data is going to be replicated, but in server 2, the application will not be installed. Okay. So for example, you are playing a game on mobile 1. Okay. So the game stages are completely updated and they are synchronized with your Gmail account. So an account will be created, and in that account we will notify. I mean, we will notice the each and every stage of that particular game. So on mobile too, if you want to play the same game with the same, I mean, if you want to play the game, you need to have the application installed. Without that, the data will be synchronizing between the two devices, but you need to have the application installed. So in the same manner, here also in server one, we will have the application installed. When the application is creating, the data is available on the server 2, but the application will not be installed on the server 2. So we need to install the application on the server 2. So how we can install that the same? I convert. Then on server 2 also the application is installed. The data replication will happen between the servers, but not the application installation will be automatically happen on the servers. So done. So on both the servers, the Jenkins is installed and the replication is happening between both the servers. So everything is fine now. So now it's time to create or else it's time to check to log in into the servers. So if I want to log in into this Jenkins server, so every Jenkins server will be running on the port number 8080. So let me take the primary server. I take the primary DNS colon 8080 on standby server also. This will also be running on the 8080. So first of all, let me log on to the primary server. Cat. If I give this now, the password will be the same for both the servers. Continue. That's it. So it is going to run the, or else that is the Jenkins is going to install the plugins. Once the plugins are installed into the Jenkins, then we can check out the dashboard of that particular Jenkins application. Let it come. Before that, what I will do here is I will install a few tools. That is AWS CLI install. I'm going to install the AWS CLI. Uh, I'm going to run this on the primary node and as well as on the standby node. Both the nodes, whatever the configuration that we do in the primary and standby, the same configuration will be done in the standby also. Terraform.io. So I'm going to install the Terraform in both the servers. It is happening continuously. It is done. Skip and continue as admin. Not now. And start using Jenkins. Done. So this is our Jenkins dashboard. Okay. It is into the infinite loop. It is done. So here what I will do, I will go with the Terraform cd/user local bin terraform.io. Let me copy this code, copy the link. Wget, I will be like this. So Terraform is downloaded. Unzip Terraform. Done. So in the standby also cd/user local bin and then wget. I'm going to download Terraform here also. Unzip, unzip Terraform. This is good. And then I will install the Docker curl -sl https:// get.docker.com and bash. So Docker will be installed on the Jenkins server. On the standby also, curl-sl https:// get.docker.com bash. Done. So on the standby node also the Docker got installed. So once on both the servers the Docker is installed, then what we have to do? Let's see. Okay, so now it's time to access the standby server. As of now, up to now, we are accessing the primary server. It's time to access the standby server. So I will go to the standby. Let me copy the IP address, colon 8080. Okay, in both the servers, it is installed. Then cat, the initial admin password is the same for both the servers. And continue. Install the suggested plugins. So once the Jenkins servers are installed, then what we are going to do here is we will be working with the configurations here. So come on. So I will go to the dashboard. I'm going to create a build. Okay, build in the sense, for example, I will go with testing Jenkins. So this is the build name, freestyle project. Click OK. So now we are going to execute some of the commands in my server. Okay, so how I can execute this project is parameterized, and the parameters are region. Okay, so here I will give US East -1, AP South -1. So I'm going to give the AWS regions. Why I'm giving AWS regions? I'm going to execute the configuration over here. So sometimes I am going to get an error like this. It's fine. Okay, skip and continue. Not now. Not using them. Okay, then. So now we have the Jenkins server configuration done on both the Jenkins configuration is done on both the servers. Now what I will do here is I will restart the configurations once. Restart the Jenkins application. Hold on. Admin and provide the password so we can log into the server. Now the point what you need to understand here, we want to configure the application or else we want to configure the build. The build which I have to configure over here is, so this project is parameterized, add parameter, and the parameters are a region, US East 1 and AP South 1. So if you come down here, I want to execute the shell script. Execute the shell. Okay. The commands which I want to do here is AWS hyphen hyphen version, Terraform version, and then AWS EC2 describe hyphen VPCs. I want to get the VPCs from the region dollar region. Dollar region is a variable. So whichever the parameter that we have defined over here. So whenever you select a parameter, either it is US East 1 or AP South 1, that parameters will be, they will be replaced with this dollar region variable. Okay. And the JQ dot VPC, VPCs dot VPC ID. And then docker ps. When I give this command, we are going to get an error. But before that, what I will do on both the nodes, okay, apt install hyphen y jq. I think jq is there. Okay, that is fine. So that's it. The configuration is made and everything is fine. Now, if I save it and run the application, build with the parameters, so I'm going to get an error. What is the error that I'm getting? So the first and foremost thing is it won't be able to fetch out the VPC details. The server will not be able to fetch out the details. To check out that, here you can see the console output. When you click on the build and check the console output, here you can clearly see that the AWS version is showing, Terraform version is showing, but it is unable to get the VPC details, and as well as the Docker permission is getting denied. So now what I have to do? So it is very simple. On both the servers, I need to apply the role. So go to the actions, or else let me create a role over here. So IAM. So roles in AWS are created to provide the access for one server or else for one service on the another service. For example, I am having EC2. It is unable to fetch out. I have a server. The server is unable to fetch out the details of the VPC. Why? Because the permissions are not there. If the same server want to fetch out the details of S3, again the permissions won't be there. So to provide the permissions for my server on the AWS environment, we are going to create a role. So the role is for EC2, and I will directly provide the administrator access. And this is for Jenkins underscore access underscore DS. And I'm going to apply this role on my EC2 instances. On standby EC2 instance also, I'm going to apply the same role. On both the EC2 instances, we have applied the role. Now, if I run the configuration, what is going to happen? Build with the parameters. Again, I am going to get an error. What is the error that I am going to get? Here you can see I got the VPC details. So if you see, I got the output for the command AWS CLI, and I got the output for the Terraform version, and I got the VPC details, and Docker PS is not executable. So now what you need to think here is where this code is running. This code is running inside my primary server. Okay, inside the primary server, the code is running. So to make sure you understand this, now let me do one thing. I will go ahead, host name CTL set hyphen host name is equal to set host name primary. So I am changing the server name. So exit and relogin into this. So now my server is with the name primary. In the standby also, what I will do, host name CTL set hyphen host name standby. Exit and relogin. Here you can see the server name is standby. So to check out whether it is running on the primary or standby node, here you can see configure. I'm going to give another command. The command which I'm going to give here is execute the host name hostname command. So if you see here, when I give the host name, see, it is showing it as primary. When I give the host name, the server name, it is showing as standby. So now let's see what is going to happen. I will again click on build with the parameters, US is to 1. So up to now, 2 builds are generated. I'm trying to generate the third build. So if the third build also, we are getting an error. That is, for Docker, we are getting permission denied, but that's okay. So we have generated 3 builds in the primary server. But what about the standby? In the standby, we don't have any builds that are generated. So no builds are generated. It is not showing anything. It is not replicating from primary to the standby. The synchronization is not happening. Then what we have to do? So before we go into that topic, let us configure the Docker. So what I can do here is user mod -ag. I want to add Jenkins user into the Docker group. I want to add the Jenkins user into the Docker group. So when I execute the command docker ps, I won't get an error. Here, whenever we are executing the command docker ps, we are getting the error. No? What is the error? Permission denied while trying to connect. So I don't want to get that. Okay. And as well as user mod -ag root Jenkins. I am adding the Jenkins to the root directory also. Here also I'm going to execute the same commands. In the standby also, I'm going to execute the same commands. Now reboot both the servers. Okay. Once you have rebooted both the servers, then what is going to happen? Then all the applications will be rebooted. Docker will be rebooted. What else? Jenkins is going to be rebooted. Everything is going to be rebooted. Once the servers are rebooted, then if you can see here, you will be able to see the dashboard. In the dashboard, you will be able to see the builds, whatever the application that we have created, whatever the what I can say job that we have created, and the same job will be available here, and how many builds are generated in the job is also going to be displayed. So now let me go back to the EC2 and check out whether the servers are ready. Done. Both the servers are up and running. Let me refresh it here also. Let me refresh it. Sudo su hyphen cat/warlib Jenkins secrets initial admin secrets. So, initial admin password. The same password I can use it for the servers. Admin, provide the password and sign in. Here also, admin, provide the password and sign in. Done. So both the servers we are logged in. And one more thing that you need to understand here is previously in the standby node, we don't have this application, or else we don't have this job. But right now in the standby, we are having the jobs that are running. So there are 3 builds, and the 3 builds are not properly executed. Every 3 builds are the failure ones. So now let me generate the fourth build in the server one. When I generate the fourth build, this time I am going to get the success. So there you go. Now I am able to access the Docker. As I have added the Jenkins user into the Docker server, Docker group, automatically I am able to access the Docker. But this fourth build is fourth, and as well as I will try to go with the fifth build also. In the AP South one, how many VPCs are there? I just want to check out that. So in AP South one, here you can see in AP South one also we are having three VPCs. So now if you see here, the fourth and fifth builds are not shown in the standby server. Only one, two, three. 3 builds are showing it. So now what I will do again, I will restart the service, Jenkins service. When I restart it, then what is going to happen? Then I can see the builds are synchronized. So every time when we run the build, is it really mandatory to restart the service? Every time how we can restart the service? To overcome this problem, what we are going to do here is we are going to set up a particular configuration. We are going to create a user called as reload config. With the help of that reload config, we are going to work with that. So let me show you that. Admin, and the password is the same, and sign in. Once you sign in, then it will display the then it will synchronize the fourth and fifth builds that are generated on the first server, on the primary server. Here you can see now whatever the builds that are generated on the primary server, the same builds are available on the standby server also. So every time it is not going to happen to restart the servers, I mean restart the services every time. So to do that, to overcome that problem, we are going to create a user. So the username is add create user reload config, and the password, I'm going to provide the password for the user. The full name is reload config, and the email address will be reloadconfig@example.com. Create the user. Once we have created this user will not be available in the standby. Why? Because the synchronization is not happened, no? So the user will not be available in the standby. Okay. So we will make the user available in the standby, but first of all, let me log on to that user account, whatever the user account that we have created. I'm going to log in into that user account. The user account name is reload config and the password. Done. So once we have logged into the user account, now what I can do here is I'll go to the security, add new token. So this is my Jenkins underscore synchronization. So this token, let me copy the token. It is a very crucial token. So I'll paste it over here. Done. Now the reload configuration work is done, but that user is not showing in the standby node. So if it has to be, if the user has to be shown, then again I need to restart the service. So every time we cannot restart. If there is any update on the first server, I cannot restart the second server again and again. So to overcome this problem, we are going ahead with a certain configuration. So here, what I can do is admin, and the password is sign in. Let me go to Jenkins installation. The point is, if you see now, the user will be available on the standby. As the services are restarted, the user will be available on the standby also. Okay, good. So next one. Okay. So first of all, we have to download the Jenkins CLI. So let us download the Jenkins CLI. So here we can use our primary server IP. What is the primary server IP? The primary server is this one. Let me copy this, give it over here. This is the primary server, and I want to download the Jenkins CLI.jar on the standby server. So here you can see move Jenkins CLI.jar to slash. And the next one is I want to execute this command on the standby node. So let me copy this. So the secondary server public IP is, I won't go with the public IP, rather it is better to go with the private IP, 10.100.2.150. So this is the standby server IP address, private IP, and here you have to provide the token. When you provide the token and execute the command, no, the synchronization will happen. Before I go into the synchronization, let me go back to the Jenkins. Again, I will try to build some, I mean, same, build with the parameters, build and build with the parameters, build. So sixth and seventh builds are generated, but those builds are not showing on the standby server. Okay, here you can see only up to 5 builds are there. Now, when I execute this command in the standby server, then what is going to happen? Now, here you can see when I execute the command, automatically in the standby server also you got sixth and seventh builds. For example, if I build again, build with the parameters, this time it will be eighth build, and again build with the parameters, this time it will be ninth build. So we have generated 2 more builds on the primary server. Okay, so but those builds are not going to be shown on the standby server. So if we refresh it also, we are not going to get those 2 builds. So I need to re-execute this command. On the standby node, again I need to re-execute the command. Then if you see here, the builds will be configured. See that on the standby node, 8th and 9th builds are, you are able to see that, which means that on the, whenever you execute this command, the builds are getting synchronized. So how continuously I can execute the command? We can use the cron tabs. Cron tab -e, and here you can view like this. Star, 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 star. Okay, so I want to execute this particular command. Every minute, I want to execute this command. Save it. And now if you see here, when I execute the builds, this time the synchronization will automatically happen. So we don't need to execute the command or else we don't need to restart the service. 10th and 11th builds will be automatically available on the server within a short span of time. Every 1 minute it is going to synchronize. So it is going to be synchronized. So if you see here, on server 2, if you see, 8, 9 builds are there. Just wait for a 1 minute. So then you can get the 10th and 11th build. Hola. Look at the builds. 8 and 9 is there. We need to get 10 and 11. There you go. Automatically we got the 10 and 11. Why? Because that particular command is executed in the cron tab. So that is how we are going. Every 1 minute, the command is going to be executed. Whatever the changes, whatever the new builds are generated, the new builds which are generated in the primary will be synced up to the standby. So this is the highly available Jenkins configuration. In the next session, now if you see, these two are the master servers. These two are the master servers. Whatever the pipelines that we are going to create, the pipelines are not going to be running on the master nodes. Okay. So actually where they have to run, so we have to create a slave node. So under this master node, we will be creating a slave node. So in the slave nodes, the application execution has to happen. How we can execute the applications, how we can execute the pipeline on the slave nodes, how to create the slave nodes, that we will see in the next session. For example, this might be a development slave node, and there will be one more slave node. there will be one more slave node, so which is going to be executed. But this slave node is the production slave node. Like that, you can add the nodes into your Jenkins cluster or else Jenkins server. So let me go with prod. Okay. So this can be accessed by the standby also. So this is called as slave nodes. So how to create these slave nodes and how to execute the commands, how to execute the pipelines in that, we will see in the next session. So this is the concept of making the Jenkins highly available configuration. Do you understand now? Any questions here? Up to now, any questions?
I have a question.
Mhm.
So, uh, I think might be the terminology thing. So there are two servers created. Uh,
Mm,
you are referring to those as Jenkins primary and Jenkins
mm,
secondary.
mm.
Are these the same node where your application will be deployed, or it will be on the dev and production servers?
It will be on the application will be deployed on the dev and production servers.
Okay.
For
And
that, we are
the
let me
sorry,
complete
go ahead.
once. These
Yeah.
are the master nodes. So inside the master nodes, we are running the Jenkins, no? So when we are running in the Jenkins in the master node, so already the Jenkins application is running. If I try to run the pipeline also in the master node, then that will be an extra burden for my master node. So I don't want that to happen. So to overcome that problem, we are going to have the slave nodes in which the pipeline will be running on the slave nodes. Understood?
Okay. Yes. So I was thinking running pipeline is a job of Jenkins. So
Hmm.
isn't that should be running on the Jenkins server itself, or it's a different thing?
Pipeline will be run by the Jenkins, but where it is running, that is important. No? Pipelines are initiated by the Jenkins only. We are going to write the Jenkins file, and Jenkins will start the pipeline. But the pipeline will be running inside the development nodes or production slave nodes.
Okay.
See, if I am the trainer and you are the trainee, okay. My
Mhm.
work is not to continuously. I mean, my work is not to continuously monitor you and tell you to do something. I will assign you a task, and it is your job to run the task. So that is what master slavish means, right? Do you understand it? If I am a manager, I won't do the work, no. So I will assign the
Mm.
work, and if there is any high escalations, then only I will take in charge.
Okay.
Normally, the work will be done by the employees only. The manager will guide them. Here also, we have the manager notes or master notes. What master notes are going to do? They are going to provide they will start the initiation. They will initiate the pipeline. But where the pipeline will be running? Pipeline will be running inside the slave nodes.
The slave nodes. Okay.
Okay. Hmm. Right. There are no prerequisites, guys. So you need to understand the AWS EC2 instances. That is the only prerequisite. Apart from that, we don't have very high end of prerequisites to understand in these sessions.
I have another question.
Mhm.
So you mentioned earlier the Jenkins
Mm,
pipeline and Jenkins CI/CD
mm.
uh, as a Java technology. Can I use same to
I did
deploy?
not said that it's a Java based. See, the dependency is to install. See, if you are creating an application, if I say it's a Java application, then what is the meaning of that? On Java platform, it will run. Jenkins is
Yes.
also an application that will run on, it will have the dependency of Java. Okay,
Okay.
continue.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Now, can I use, so since I come from .NET background, can I
Mm.
use Jenkins to deploy my .NET application?
Again, you are coming back to the same thing. See, uh, for
So,
example, one
mhm,
second, one second, one second. Okay. For example, I have a Windows computer. Okay. In Windows computer, can I run Java application? You are asking in that manner. Java is just a platform to run the Jenkins application. But where you are running the application, that is important, no? Jenkins will start the execution, but where the execution will happen? Obviously, execution will not happen in the Jenkins application. Execution will happen inside the servers, no? If the servers are having the
Yes.
.NET, then the application will run.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, because I have no idea on the Jenkins. That's why the that's why the
Okay,
question.
no problem.
So
No.
I can like because you are passing the parameters and the
Mm,
build you created,
mm,
I can use same thing to deploy my .NET application.
mm,
It will be running on the slave nodes where
mm.
the .NET runtime should be present.
Yeah, on the slave
Okay.
nodes, if you have the .NET runtime is there, Jenkins will initialize. See, what Jenkins is going to do, you will write the code in .NET. For example, there is a nowadays the most of the bank wallets applications are majorly running created in the .NET. I don't know on which project you are working, but I'm telling you in this fashion.
Okay.
Now, what you will do, you will update the code into the GitHub. Okay. So when you
Mhm.
update the code into the GitHub, the source code will be available over there. Now there will be for .NET there will be certain package managers will be there, build tools will be there, which are going to convert the source code into an application. Now
Mhm.
once the application is completed, then what Jenkins is going to do? So that application conversion is also done by the Jenkins. If in the slave node, if the build tools are available, then with the help of build tool, the application will be converted, right? The source code will be converted into an application. Then
Okay.
that application will be again initiated by Jenkins. If that .NET related libraries and binaries are available inside the slave node, Jenkins will just give the command, it will pass the command. Okay. So it's a
Okay.
combination. It's not like Jenkins, you are not going to run the application inside the Jenkins application. You are going to run your applications on the servers only. Okay. Jenkins will
Okay.
initiate that. For example, I'm a manager. Again, I'm coming back to the same concept. I am the manager and you are an employee. So for me, for me, I have to look after so many teams. It is not a mandatory thing. I mean, I need to have a clear-cut knowledge on different environments. But sometimes it is not a very mandatory thing to have a clear-cut understanding about for example, Java libraries. If I am from the system administration background, I don't know what is this Java and what is going to happen with Java, or else what is going to happen with .NET. Why? Because I'm from the system administration background. But
Mhm.
those are the employees who are under me. I have a knowledge on that. See, I'm not saying that I don't have any knowledge on those applications. I'm saying that I have a basic knowledge, but I don't need the in-deep knowledge. So I will assign an employee and I will give the task to him. So this is what the client requirement. If you have, so the employee who is having the clear-cut knowledge on .NET, he will be working on that. No. So I will assign the task. You will be working on that. If there is any glitch, then I can reach out to you and I can check out what is the problem, how you can resolve this problem. That I can tell you. But who is going to do the work? Obviously, you are going to do the work. You have to get a clear-cut knowledge on what you are doing, right? So in the same manner, Jenkins will initiate the configuration, and inside the slave node, you need to have the applications installed. Whatever the prerequisites that are used to create the build the application, the prerequisites to run the application, everything should be installed in the slave nodes.
Okay.
Jenkins is not going to do anything. It is just going to initiate the pipeline. So whatever the stages that we have said, all the things will be initiated. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Right. Any questions, guys?
Hi. Uh,
Yeah, hi Raghu.
yeah, Paresh, currently in the current IT industry as well, we are going to have the, both of the servers, like, it was mentioned like primary and secondary servers, right? So normally when we do the Jenkins job, we used to have only one job. Is that background they are going to have that similar kind of standby Jenkins master job?
He will be running only a single job.
Sorry.
Okay. Uh, Only single job will be running. So your question is, in both the servers, we will have the same job running. That is what your question is, right?
Exactly. In both jobs. Suppose if
There
it,
is
in
one
some
second.
cases, oh, go ahead.
If if again coming back to the same analogy, there are two employees who are working on a project.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So they will be working on the same project, no? If employee one is working on certain module, employee two will also know about that module.
Mhm.
For example, there is a day suddenly employee one did not come to the office. On the same day, the client is requested for a demo. Now,
Okay.
what will happen?
The secondary employee has to get the same information anyhow from.
Why? Because both are in the synchronization.
Yeah.
The secondary employee can take over the conference and he can deliver whatever the client is requested for, right? Why? Because employee one and employee two are working on the same module. They both
Yeah.
know about that, right? So the pipeline one, so whenever we create a pipeline in Jenkins master node, I mean,
Mm.
the primary server, as both are in the sync, the same pipeline will be available in the standby also, no? If the
Yes.
primary node is down, then we can run the pipeline on the standby, no?
Yeah.
This
Yes.
is what we call it as highly available, high availability, right?
Developed. Yes.
Now go on with your question.
Thank you. So
That's it.
if there are, I understand totally. But if we reach out to the DevOps team, so we
Hmm.
can get the standby Jenkins job details as well with the respected dev team, or else are they going to share? Means I don't know about maybe
Why, first of all, why you have to reach out to the DevOps? If you are a developer, again, coming back to the point, if you are a developer, it is your responsibility to clear out the bugs and update the code into the Jenkins.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it's the DevOps engineer responsibility. You can simply send a mail to the DevOps engineer saying that we have updated the code. Now what DevOps engineer is going to do? He will start the jobs. He will start the job. Okay.
Yeah.
Where he is going to start the job, whether he is going to start the job in primary or standby, it is
Standby.
his wish. If the primary is available, obviously he is going to run the job in the primary.
Yeah.
If the primary is down, he will run in the standby. What is that?
Okay. Fine.
Okay.
And is there any
Hmm.
limit in the keeping the history, the builds?
There is
The
no limit. You can create
uh,
n number of builds.
so we can get as many the number whichever we want. Suppose the
Yeah,
last
yeah.
month which I release, I want that build, so I can get it
You
right.
can you can get those builds also. You can run n number of builds and you can get those builds also. No problem.
Thank you. Yeah.
Anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine. Other persons, anything else from your end? Okay, then. With this, we have successfully completed our demos. And those who are interested to join the sessions, you can join the sessions. And from Monday onwards, it will be those who have enrolled for the course. You will be getting a separate Zoom link. Through the Zoom link, you can join into the sessions.
Okay.
So with
The current
hmm,
sessions at what time we are going to start? Is it same time
from
or
Monday, it will be at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock?
From
Okay.
Monday,
Thank you.
the sessions will start at 7 o'clock and it will end by 8:30.
Fine. Thank you.
Mostly, it will be 8 to 8:50. In
Okay.
rare cases, it will go up to 8:30. Okay,
No worries. Thank you.
that's fine. So those who are interested, you can enroll for the course, and from Monday onwards, we will start the session at 7 o'clock. Okay.
One last question.
Yeah, Bhushan.
Yeah. So the demo you did
Mm,
about creating EC2 instance and creating master
mm,
nodes.
mm.
were we supposed to do along with you, or is it like we have to do it offline or something? Just to,
No, it is not
next time.
required. It
Uh-huh.
is not required to do with me. So why? Because it will take a lot of time. Okay. Why? Because it's just a 1 hour of session. So if I do the practical, if you try to repeat the same practical, it is going to take a lot of time. Okay. So we will provide the videos to you. Please do the practical the same day. If you have any issues, you can ask me the question in the next video itself. Okay.
Sure.
Right. That's it. Anything else?
Yep.
Okay then. Have a nice day, and we'll meet on Monday. Bye.
You too.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye.
Bye. Have a nice weekend. Bye.